Mardi Gras and Jazz Fest, the two major cultural events in New Orleans in the first half of the year. Mardi Gras, of course, the greatest free show on earth. 2 weeks of parades and house parties. You know, the parades, elaborate floats. They throw all kinds of stuff. There are marching bands. There are marching groups with all kinds of wacky costumes. Mardi Gras Day. Those that get into the spirit of it wear costumes, oftentimes satirical, sometimes just a whole lot of fun. I've been the Cat in the Hat for several years, very popular with kids. You know, it has to be seen to be believed. And a lot of people think Mardi Gras is just like the Bourbon Street scene where it's, you know, decadence and girls going wild. It's not just that, it's families having cookouts and camping out on the neutral grounds to watch the parades as they go by. So a lot of different ways to experience Mardi Gras. New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, also a huge celebration of New Orleans music and culture. It has its own parades, which tend to be second line parades with brass bands and very colorful attired marchers going around the infield of the fairgrounds. A lot of food, a lot of music, definitely an immersive experience of its own. So Mardi Gras, depending on what part of town you live in, it basically takes over your life for a couple of weeks. The parades, hundreds of thousands of people along the routes, dozens of elaborate floats, the marching bands, just the sensory overload is basically, sensory overload is what Mardi Gras is for me. You know, and it's kids up on ladders catching beads, it's kids on their shoulders, it's following a float where you know somebody and they're throwing you all kinds of stuff. There are so many experiences that you can have within the context of Mardi Gras, as much or as little as you want. There are certainly traditions within the context of Mardi Gras. There are the formal balls that a lot of the crews have that are open only to the members. You know, Rex and Zulu, the two signature parades on Mardi Gras Day, on the Fat Tuesday, have their own traditions going back over 100 years, basically. But the vast majority of Mardi Gras is free and open to the public, and you can experience it however you want. You can sit out there with a cooler and watch it all go by. You can get in the front line and try and catch stuff. There's just so much to see and do during Mardi Gras that it's really hard to describe to someone who hasn't experienced it, because it is so much. But locals are certainly very familiar with the tradition and are more than happy to serve as guides for those of you from out of town who may come and check it out. New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, on the other hand, is a little bit more of a specific experience. You have to buy a ticket and go to the fairgrounds. So it's more of a self-contained universe within the fairgrounds racetrack. But you go there and you're gonna have 8 hours of Louisiana and New Orleans music, coupled with some of the biggest pop acts in the world that play out there as well. So you can hear Cajun Zydeco music, you can hear local jazz, you can hear hip hop, you can hear rock bands, you can hear a little bit of all that makes South Louisiana what it is, as well as tasting a lot of those flavors via the dozens of food booths that are out there on the fairgrounds as well. So it's an immersive experience of its own, just contained within the confines of the fairgrounds. And it'll cost you a little bit more money than Mardi Gras, but it's also a very music-specific experience. And for a lot of folks, that is really what New Orleans is all about.